Hello all, Alison here and welcome back to Words and Pictures. A very few, I hope, minutes of fun today with a really simple technique but one that I love. Using distress inks to do some watercolour stamping, and I'm playing with my latest stamp sets from PaperArtsy, released in June of 2024, and these are the sets. So they are the pressed Foliage edition, that's EAB 39, the pressed Grasses edition, EAB 40, EAB stands for Eclectica Alison Bomber, that's me, and EAB 41, the pressed Umbels edition. So you get the bold version and the sketchy version of each of these. So a sort of bold silhouette and a really detailed little sketch. You get some background texture, you get some little bits of ephemera, and you get some words on each of those sets. So this is about as clean and simple, CAS, C-A-S, clean and simple as I get. So we're going to take a quick run through this and you'll see how these three tags came into being. But this is a lovely technique because it's kind of flexible and you can make it as loose and soft and watercolory as you like, or you can keep things fairly clear and crystal clear with your stamping, depending on what kind of effect you're after. So once again, there's no right and wrong. There's playing, there's experimenting, there's seeing which kind of effect you prefer to get. So I'm going to get my little silicone craft mat out and we'll have a play. Back in a sec. Ready to play. The tags I'm going to use for this I've cut from some PaperArtsy Smoothy card. These are just some offcuts I have of that, and they're a little smaller than the usual manila tags I'm using by the time I've folded them and cut them, but the size really doesn't matter. This is a regular size 8. The nice thing about this is the card is beautiful. It's a lovely smooth surface, which means you can get a really detailed imprint when you're stamping. But also, given it's pure white card as opposed to the manila, the translucent distress inks are going to get to keep their own colours rather than getting warmed up by the manila. I've just been using this tag to create a little template, I guess, for my corner cutting. So I line it up with the two edges and snip, and then line it up with the other two edges and snip. And then I've just been eyeballing cutting the holes with a regular hole punch. A regular UK hole punch. I think a regular US hole punch has 3 holes in it, but I only want the one anyway, so whether it's 2 or 3, it's all good. They are a lovely surface to stamp on, and you'll see how that goes as we develop. I've just grabbed a few favourite colours for this time of year. I promise you, once it gets to autumn, my colour palette will start changing, but I'm still in my summery blues and greens, and I've been influenced by all the lavender outside to have a couple of purples hanging out. I've got some archival inks, which I'm probably going to use later for stamping the words that I might add. I'm pretty much going to recreate what we've got in those other tags, but other things may happen, who knows, as the urge takes me. I'm not necessarily going to stamp all these. I just thought I'd have plenty because it's one of those techniques that once you get going, you just want to keep going because it's beautiful. So I will begin with, I think, just some grasses, and I need obviously an acrylic mounting plate for my rubber stamps. I'm going to maybe start with the sketchy one. Just need the one tag for now. And this, as I say, is very simple technique. This is me having some fun with my new stamps because I'm still exploring them. When I'm doing this, I like to have more than one colour on the stamp. I just tend to tap it on pretty randomly. Certainly to start with, I might start getting more precise about where I want to put colour. And then the key is just a little spritz of water before you go, which is going to allow those distress inks to do their magic right there on the stamp. And then straight down onto the tag and up again. And you can see that's a gentle stamping. This is the detailed sketchy stamp, so that ink has softened already into the spaces. And then if I just add a little spritz of water, that's going to let that spread out a little bit in places. I might even go with a secondary stamping of this one, and in that case I'm going to have another tag stamping standing by to just give that a softer, altogether more watercolory look. Take a look at the difference between those two. Delicious. And I might even go for a third one. So on the previous tags, you'll have noticed I stuck to one stamp plate per tag, but now I might mix and match a bit more. Oh, I'm already deliriously happy with what's going on here. So have a comparison between that first detailed stamping and the lovely one there. Okay, the train down in the valley is about to hoot. Somehow I always seem to coincide with it. I promise it doesn't go that often. But it's the morning when the light is good, so that's when it gets it. So that is a beautiful start. There it is, hoot hoot. And obviously it being summer, I've got all the windows open, so the sound is coming in. I think I'm going to do a silhouette version now. So this is a slightly differently shaped sketch that I created with the silhouette, and on this one let's stick to similar colours. So far I think that was probably Evergreen Bough, was it, and peeled paint, and I think I put some broken china on that one. So for this one, let's start with the peeled paint. Let's be a little greener and make peeled paint our first colour. And then what I might do is add just a little bit of the Evergreen Bough to that. And I'm going to start, I think, without any spritz of water over on this one, which has got the most watery version. Positioning it slightly differently, overlapping, layering. So that's giving me a really strong foreground stamp. So by creating these watery stamps or not, you can give yourself layers. It's already creating depth. I'm going to go up a bit over. Oh, look, I could do two at once. Look at this. This is going to be fun. So I've lined these up. I'm going to take half of it on this one and half of it on the other one. Ooh. So look at the difference between the straight stamping and then the watery version going on afterwards. Really tasty. And I'm looking and kind of going, what is it I want next? And what I want next is some broken china. So I'm going to pop some broken china straight onto here and give it maybe a little bit of Evergreen Bough as well. If you're thinking, oh, aren't those stamp pads getting contaminated with each other? I got to tell you, I've never had an issue with that. If you feel like you've contaminated your stamp pad, you can just wipe a sheet of paper towel over the surface of it, and that's going to take off that top part. Yeah, happy, 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 happy. Having said I was going to mix and match, I'm starting out, as you can see, with just the grasses to start with, but I have got both the sketch and the silhouette in action here. And then I'm going to pop one kind of up this side, I think. Again, a partial stamping, just as though it's waving in from the edges. I don't mind that that's not touching the ground, but actually I quite want a bit more turquoisiness on this one. So I'm going to pop that down there, a little bit of Evergreen Bough, and give it a good spritz, because this one I would like quite soft, and just layer it in as if it's a whole other plant coming in from there. I really like that little splodge there. So this technique is all about embracing imperfection, letting the things go where they want to. I'm going to do a little spritz and flick just to encourage a bit of movement, maybe in a couple of places. We'll see what that looks like when we come back to them. So I'm going to pop those aside, let them dry naturally, because actually it's really nice to let the ink spread and work by itself, and move on to the next three. I think we might do some pressed umbels next. So yeah, they're the umbella flower is just a delight to me. The parsley family, the carrot family, Queen Anne's lace, cow parsley, any of these flowers where the structure is on little stems and then you get these little beautiful flower heads on them. So again, I'm going to start, I think, this time with the silhouette version. This is ink. It's water reactive ink, the distress ink, so I don't need to panic about cleaning that off immediately. As I've said before, it's a good habit, but with water soluble ink, it's really not going to be a problem to get it off later if you forget. Right, let's see, should we get a bit bluesier on these? So I've got some Stormy Sky, Faded Jeans, and these purpley ones hanging out here, Shaded Lilac, Wilted Violet. I'm inclined to start out blue, I think, but I don't want to be completely divorced from the previous ones, so the peeled paint is gonna get a look in as well, and maybe we'll let that be our starting point. I'm going to start with a little spritz. It's a gentle little spritz. It hasn't hit the whole stamp, so there should be some detail and some wateriness with a bit of luck. Yeah, again, I'll hold it up so you can take a look at that. Oh, it's pretty. It's really pretty. Maybe Stormy Sky and Faded Jeans. So this really will be a bluesy one. Or maybe we should go... No, I'm going to stick to it. Stormy Sky, Faded Jeans, and then again, just a little bit of the peeled paint in a couple of places so that it's got that relationship to what we had before. I'll give this... No, actually, I won't give that a spritz, but there is a bit of water on the tag here, so that might impact what goes on. So I'll do that one. And again, you can see with the spritz of water, without the spritz of water, just take a look at the difference in detail. So the softness of that is really enjoyable. The detail of that is really enjoyable. It's art, not science, this. It's seeing what kind of effects you like. Play with the amount of water you've got. Oh, yeah, see, and now I've got detail and softness all on the one tag. I'll go for a secondary stamping over here, and that should get me something really quite nice and soft. Let's have that going up there. So this is, yeah, this is the sketchy one I'm using, not the silhouette. I think I said I was using the silhouette, and as it turns out, it's the sketch. Look how beautiful. Just that softness. But also, look how beautiful that detailed version. And yes, I've tilted the tag, so that's going around walkabout. I don't mind. It's all good. If you don't want it to go walkabout, if you love what you've got there, you can just give it a tiny dab with the paper towel to just reduce the amount of water you've got going on. And then you'll be able to have a little more control over what's going on. So this is the silhouette. I'm going to stamp it up with, ink it up with Stormy Sky, a little bit of Faded Jeans. And I'm really enjoying those hints of green coming in there. So I'm going to keep peeled paint in the mix. I'm just dabbing in places. This one is going to start quite watery. And we'll let that go over here. So the lovely thing about this particular stamp is that stem is quite flexible. So if I didn't want that one on there, I can just go with a single stamping, like, move out of the way, ink pad. So... And then what I'll do is I'll have this other one, give it a bit more ink. I'll have some Stormy Sky, a bit more Faded Jeans, and a little bit of that peeled paint, maybe right in the centre. So I'm aiming the corner of the ink pad into the centre of that umbel there. It may hit, it may not hit, it may miss, we'll see. Gentle spritz for that one. And again, I'm gonna let that one just fall off. Oh, but I could. Why not? Get myself an extra while I'm at it. Beautiful. Beautiful. See, and you could just have the one stem. That I might just leave that exactly as it is, because that's really rather pleasurable. I've got some ink down here in the shape of an umbel, and I'm a little bit tempted to just see what happens if I press the tag down into it. I don't know how much of a shape I'll get or not. I'll have to go straight down, straight up. Oh, just a little echo. Just a little echo in the background of somebody in the distance. Why not? That's what playing is about. That's exactly what the game is here. So those are some nice watercolour Umbels. Put those aside, let them get on with it. Let them dry, and we'll come to some foliage. So this is the pressed foliage set. Let's grab a few of these. And I have failed to get purple in that last lot, so let's ring the changes and get a little bit purpley on this next lot. Just going to wipe off those Umbels. Umbelliferous. This is the kind of pleasure I take in words. So again, there's a silhouette version, there's a sketchy version, and what should we start with? Let's start with the silhouette this time. Given I said I was going to last time and then didn't, I think we might go Evergreen Bough, and I think we might go peeled paint, and then I think we might just let a spot of shaded lilac into the mix. And again, I'm kind of aiming around the edges a little bit so it's not fully purple, because I might not be ready for fully purple yet. We'll see how it goes, and maybe I'll just, oh, pretty. Now that one's quite full on because the silhouette is quite strong, which means there's lots of ink on there, which if I give it a little spritz, watch it move. Just softening that imprint. I'm going to leave that as it is and come back with some sketchiness. As it turned out, there really wasn't very much purple on that at all, so I'm going to be bold on the next one. Pop in purple as my first colour, a little bit of peeled paint along the stem, and maybe some Evergreen Bough just on one edge. Little spritz. And we might go half and half with this one, so I'm going to line those two up. Going to pop him down, quite low down, so that I can create height. Ooh, see, I am quite enjoying that purple, you know. Next ones might be purplier. I'm going to put some more of that over here, because that one didn't get much of a shot at the purple onto this tag. Peeled paint. Evergreen Bough. You can see I'm dotting it on, and I may not even have hit the whole stamp. You never know. Fact, I'm lying. I think I probably have covered the whole stamp on that one. So this one again is just going to sort of come in from the edge, and given we've got purple, maybe if I line that up like so, I can get it low down on this tag and higher up on this one, just as a, yeah, lovely and soft here. So I clearly had a big spritz of water in that corner, and much more detailed over here. One more, I think, just an edge of it. Maybe the Evergreen Bough. So which edge is it going to be? It's going to be this side. So I don't really need to ink up this half of the stamp, because I'm going to aim for the other side. And just a little bit of peeled paint, I think, as well. Again, I'm aiming the corner of the stamp pad so that I'm not getting a full inking. I'm going to let that be quite watery. In fact, let's have a whole other. And again, I'm going to pretend there's sort of just greenery coming in at all angles. Oops. Who knows what we've got now? There it is. Ah, it's perfect. Well, it's not perfect, but that's the joy of it. It's not perfect at all, and I love it. Good. Sort of tempted to just see what I've got left on here. This is why it's a good idea to have lots of stamps cut, even if you think you're only going to make 2. Have some more around, because you never know how many extra stampings you're going to want to do. Look how beautiful and soft that is into the background. In fact, I'm quite tempted. Yeah, it's going to go up here. Just crawling up the side in a very soft version. Ooh, pretty, pretty, pretty. Okay, so that's the silhouette. Let's have some of the detailed sketch. And so I might do one of these stampings without doing very much spritzing on it at all, so that I just allow the detail of this stamp to get a look in. But I'm still going to ink up in multiple colours. So that's the shaded violet going down. We'll have a little bit of peeled paint, I think. I'm kind of aiming around that side. We'll have a little bit of Evergreen Bough going through the middle, maybe. Little touches. So I said I was going to not spritz. Once you start, it's really tempting. I want to spritz, but I'm not going to. I'm going to pop that a bit higher. And I know the stems don't reach the bottom, but that's one of the joys of the little watercolour markers I've got standing by, which is that I can take the fine end and just continue in quite a loose way those stems down to the bottom, just so it makes contact. And then, just so our eye isn't drawn to that, let's just give ourselves a little watery version of this at the bottom. Big spritz of water, maybe at that angle, so that stem is just taking care of itself in the background. I think I want a nice watery one coming through the middle here. I think we'll go Evergreen Bough. So Evergreen Bough is this lovely soft sort of bluish green, and I think we'll go with some peeled paint just added onto there, and maybe just a hint of the shaded lilac on this one, because we've got quite a lot of shaded lilac going on there. Little spritz of water. So on this sketchy version, what spritzing that ink does is allows it to kind of move into the spaces on the stamp, so it sort of colours itself in, if you like. I'll show you what I mean by that. So on this one, where there was no spritz, you can still see the spaces in the leaves, but when I give it a spritz, they colour themselves in. It's sort of like a little magic trick. So you can see where there wasn't any water on the stamp, I've got still the leafy shape, and otherwise it sort of turns itself into a silhouette. I'm kind of inclined to leave those there. Maybe I want a little thing going up the side here. Yeah, let's just see what's on the stamp. Let's see what we get. Might as well use it up. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. And I think maybe I want a little bit coming up the side here. So I'm actually going to use whatever's on here to create a sort of ferny bit along the bottom. Yeah, lovely. This pressed foliage one is lovely just for creating a sort of frame around the edges of things. So you just dip in the tip of the stamp and it creates a frame all the way around the edge. And that's a lovely thing as well. So I've got some grasses drying, I've got some umbels drying, I've got some foliage drying, and I think I'm just gonna do one with a bit of a mix. I do want one with a bit of a mix. I mean, a mix of two sets of stamps. So let's have some umbels back, because I love them. We'll make them slightly purple, so that's shaded lilac going on first. And then Evergreen Bough, because I think that's going to be a nice combo. But then I do like a little bit of acid, a little bit of more freshness from the peeled paint. Otherwise things get too soft. Little spritz of water. And let's have that going like, or maybe we put it in the middle. I don't usually stamp centrally. I'm very much an off-center kind of person. That's pretty. I'm going to give it a spritz of water just over the top to just let it soften even a little more. And then I'm going to grab my pressed grasses, the sketchy version, and do a little bit of that. So let's have peeled paint. Let's have some broken china, because we haven't had that in for a while. And we'll let the grasses be, first of all, not spritzed. Little one going up there. That's nice, the detail of that. And then I'm going to take another little one up this corner. Yeah, just gently growing up the bottom. In fact, I'm looking now at another umbel and thinking I'd quite like some grasses on there as well, please. Nice and soft. See what we've got left on the stamp. Yeah. Just soft secondary stampings. Very pretty. There's still some ink here. I can see it, so I'm going to pretend there's a grass growing up the side there. Yeah, lovely. Very happy. Grand. So I'm going to let those dry, and then I'm going to come back and see if any of them would like a word stamp stamped onto them. Back in a sec. So here they are so far, mostly dried. There's a couple that sat in a puddle of water, so they're going to take a little bit longer just from behind. And yeah, almost my very favourite is this one here. You can see what I mean. It sat in some water, so this little edge is gone. So I'm just going to take a couple of these onto the next stage with you, and then probably finish them off in my own peace and quiet time some point. So yeah, let's maybe play with that one. Let's maybe play with that one. Let's maybe play with that one. And we'll put the others to one side to carry on drying. So the reason I've chosen Archival ink to stamp the words in is just that it's not reactive with water, which means that compared to these lovely soft watercolour stampings, I'm sure of a nice firm defined outline on my words. So each set has got 3 large font words that I've specially chosen, and then they've got smaller little fragments of poetry, which for the most part are by William Shakespeare or by William Butler Yeats. A couple of Williams. These are both Yeats on here, but also on these new sets there is, and I'm so ashamed to say that in most of the launch videos I forgot to mention, there's one by Jerry Manley Hopkins, who is another favourite of mine. So yeah, little bits of words to choose from. I also considered using some of the Tim Holtz etymology insects, which are quite fun to add detail when you're doing nature stamping, but I think I'm going to keep things simple for now. I'm going to stick to these lovely individual words. So I think I might like some dreaming. That's one word. And I've got lots of blues and greens going on here. So I've got Hydrangea, garden Patina, cornflower blue, trying to cater to all English-speaking peoples with my pronunciation, cornflower blue and aquamarine. So various combinations. And again, sometimes I like both. And I might need a green out as well. Might need a leaf green. I might need olive. We'll see. So I'm going to start with aquamarine here, which is obviously a nice turquoisey colour. And I might just angle my stamp pad to pop a little bit of green. I probably can't show you that. I don't know. I'm trying to add just a little bit of green just onto the bottom edge of that. And that's just going to go right here. Firm pressure down, straight up. There's my word. Simple. Very, very simple. We like simplicity. It gets us through the day. I quite like the soft stormy sky blue going on here, so I'm going to try and echo that in the word stamping. What word would we like on this one, I think? Maybe thoughts. I think I like thoughts. Now obviously the useful thing about these mats, acrylic mats that I'm using to add the stamps, is they've got this grid, which I'm always forgetting to do, so you can line up your words straight on the grid, and then you'll be able to line up the grid straight on the tag, and you should end up with a straight word. As you know, as an embracer of imperfection, I'm generally not that bothered if things are not completely straight. It's got some green going on as well, so let's maybe add a little bit of green to the bottom. Again, I'm angling the pad to just hit the bottom edge, so it'll just be a slightly subtle difference. And I think I want that, I think I want it quite close to the flower head. Ooh, that's an interesting colour. It's a sort of soft grey. I thought Hydrangea was more of a, well, it does have a hint of purple. But I'm going to embrace that. I'm going to let that be what it is. And then I quite like the strong colour of that, which I'm going to need here, because I'm quite tempted to put the word down amongst the leaves. So I will need a word, I will need an ink that's got presence, as it were. I think on this one I'd quite like meadow. So let's have meadow. Let's have the hydrangea again. Nice strong colour to go down in here. And I think this one might be just one colour to the left, I think. There it is. And then all I did also to finish these off was use the watercolour markers to just create a little doodled edge. And that's as simple as, ooh, nice and easy. It's almost like doing messy stitching around your tag. Oops, don't mind if it goes off, because messy stitching would. 2 directions, 2 directions. And I'm really mixing and matching my blues and greens now. So as I work the rest of the tags, I'll make sure that I'm swapping back and forth between blue and green and whatever it might be, so that as a collection, they still work. This edge of the core of this tag is still wet. I don't know if you can see that. So I'll do 3/4 of this one, but I'm going to leave that till later. Oh, look, this pen is, oh, there we are. Just a question of rotating the nib a little bit. And green up the side and back down again. Green on the edge and back down. Green this way and back round. Green this way and back round. And down it goes, and stop before the wet bit. We'll finish that off later. And then I might have this nice soft turquoisey colour on this one, I think. These are Spectrum Aqua markers. Any watercolour marker will do, or indeed basically any felt tip pen you've got will really do the job. Doesn't have to be a watercolour marker, that just happens to be what I've got here. Like so, like so, like so, and like so. So I'm going to carry on having a few more minutes of fun, just creating borders, word stampings. See this one, here it is. I look, I see what's happening. I decide I want a little bit more. I think on here, I also want a poetry fragment, thoughts. I hear it in the deep heart's core. So as well as that word thoughts, I'm going to add to this one of the smaller fonts. So with these, you can sort of create your own little poems. I hope I've got that the right way up. Let's just double check. Let's just double check that we're not stamping it upside down. Always worth being sure. Yeah. Oh, see, there's just something, you hear it call out, you have to listen. I'm sort of feeling like I quite like one above there as well. Dreaming. What little fragment might we want with that? The fairest flowers of the season. And that was in, I can't even remember, I think it was the Aquamarine. With a bit of green, I think we had. So again, I'll just dab that on. Again, I'm really unbothered by contamination. If you're super bothered about contamination, I mean, I think you'll find it doesn't. Again, I'm going to double check I'm the right way up. Yes. And pop that above the word dreaming on that one. Yeah, so you can see there, aquamarine, bit of green, bit where they've mixed, bit of green. Gives me a lovely finish. So I think there'll be some twine in the top. I can't bear not to finish this there. I don't care if it sort of runs. I think that'll be part of the joy if that over the watery bit runs. I will, of course, be back for the very end with a little montage taking you through these tags as they look finished, so you get a close-up. But I hope you've enjoyed seeing that very simple little technique of watercolour stamping using the distress inks and using my latest PaperArtsy stamps. Obviously, you can do this with any stamps you've got. Have a play, see what kind of effect you like, how much water, how little water, but combining soft stampings with detailed stampings is a lovely way to create the depth and the difference in those little meadow scenes. Simple, straightforward, but a really lovely technique. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and happy crafting all.